I'd like to welcome everyone to our press conference today. This is a press conference called by the Texarkana Mail Consolidation Defense Committee. You may recall back, 15 years ago and then 5 years ago, Defense Committee. We were fighting to save Red River Army Depot and Lone Star Army Ammunition plant. And we went to the defense of those, involving a lot of jobs, thousands of jobs. Today our Defense Committee is working to save jobs, not thousands, but they are just as important to this community as those thousands of jobs. And in many ways, perhaps may have a greater impact in some ways than some of those jobs that were threatened 5 and 15 years ago. So it's a privilege for me as Mayor of Texarkana, Arkansas this morning to welcome each one of you to our press conference, especially the media, the press. We appreciate the fact that you're here. We have quite a number of media outlets here, 8 or 10 I would say, and we appreciate the fact that you have determined that the subject that we will be addressing here today warrants your presence and your participation in this meeting and in taking this information and distributing out to the community so that they will be a better informed community and that they can perhaps participate in this process that is presently ongoing. We face a matter that has great consequence to our community. It has great consequences, especially to the 30 or 40 or whatever the case may be, the numbers of employees that will be affected by the proposed closing of the mail sorting, routing, whatever the proper terms, and I don't know all those postal terms that perhaps I should, but it is the sorting and the rerouting and distribution of mail that is mailed in our city. If United States Postal Service plans go forward as they are laid out right now, our facility on Robinson Road will be closed, and that's not good. That's not good for those employees, their families, a lot of other things that are negative consequences that will be addressed by Jeff Sanford in just a few moments. But as we got wind of this, as an elected official in our community here, I, along with several others and business leaders within the community, said, hey, we've got to do something. We've got to do all that we can. And at this time, several weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, we saw that we were looking at a very short fuse on this. So we went to work, and we are coming to the point where Tuesday night is a real significant milestone in this whole process, and we have worked very diligently to bring us to a point where come Tuesday night we will present the best package that we can as a community and as postal employees at that time. That's when they will have the opportunity to speak in this matter. But as an elected official, the momentum started growing, and we gathered in other folks at city level, at county level, at state level, at federal congressional level. And we have been working together on this thing. We've spent a lot of time on this. We have tried to put together the best case that we can, one that will hopefully bring us success in retaining the jobs and the families and the lives and the mail operations that are currently housed here that perhaps could be relocated to Shreveport, Louisiana. And again, we're not in a fight against anyone. We've stated this over and over. We just want to keep what is best for the postal system and for the clients in this area right where it is. So with that, I would like to introduce to you Jeff Sanford, who is the, what title are you using now?
Whatever you want.
Okay. He's with the Chamber of Commerce. No, he's the president and CEO of the Texarkana Chamber of Commerce. And Jeff is going to make some presentations that and present some facts, some suggestions, some opinions, and so forth that have come out of our collaborative effort that we have so seriously and diligently worked together on. It's a compilation of what our Defense Committee has come to at this point. We feel like we need to share what we have gathered, share that with the community and the various aspects of the community, because it touches all phases of the community. It affects the retired man and woman. And speaking of retirement, I've got 21 more days. The retired man and woman that wait, and I've watched my mother do that for years, waiting on that postman to deliver the mail. That's one of the highlights of the day. And we might laugh at that and think that that's you know, a very trivial thing. And in all of life, it probably is to most of us. But that daily, timely, effective delivery of the mail for people, that's their main concern. But there's other concerns. There's a concern of the economic impact on our area, the ability for us to continue to grow. If you are a huge business individual or organization in our community, Easy Mart's one of them. The banks, you know, they mail out thousands of mailings each month. If you are a bulk mail organization where that's your living, you are greatly impacted on this. So the whole community, every sector of the community is impacted by what is being proposed and will result in the closing of our mail sorting operations in Texarkana. So it's a serious situation. We hope that you grasp the seriousness of it. We hope the community in general grasps the seriousness of it, and that we working together can defeat this thing and have a positive outcome with it. So with that, again, President and CEO of Texarkana Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Jeff Sanders. Jeff.
Well, good afternoon and happy holidays to everyone. Certainly at this time of year we like to talk more about celebrations and excitement for a great year, and I think overall we've had a successful year in this community. We have some issues though right now that hit us in this month of December, this month of cheer, and it is not so cheerful, and we want to talk a little bit about that. First of all, there's two major issues, as the mayor alluded to: the economic impact of this, from the potential of job losses, and the second part is the downward expansion, and to use a term we use around here, of service in terms of mail delivery systems. I want to talk about a few other things here, and I'm going to read some of it, which is unusual if you've seen me before, but I'm going to do is I want to make sure I get it right. First of all, our post office currently processes in excess of 40,000 pieces of mail per night. Those are the items that are canceled here in our local facility. That does not include the metered mail that runs through many of our businesses. It is certainly those that are just canceled here. That number varies at times, obviously during the holiday season. This time of year, when we're off sending out Christmas cards or other invitations or whatever else, and certainly business things, dues for some, checks for others, whatever the case may be, is a high volume at this time of the year, and that can be vastly affected by this. Our local post office services 61 communities in both Texas and Arkansas. I've been asked to read these, so bear with me. I'm going to go through these. Gillum, DeQueen, Foreman, Alene, Horatio, Winthrop, Bradley, Falk, Doddridge, McCaskill, Hope, Prescott, Emmett, Cale, Willisville, Roston, Laneburg, Blevins, Dirks, Ashdown, Ben Lomond, Ogden, Locksburg, Wilton, Taylor, Stamps, Buckner, Garland, Louisville, Genoa, Washington, Nashville, Saratoga, Fulton, Mineral Springs, Columbus, Ozark. Those are just on the Arkansas side. Texas side: Anona, Atlanta, Avery, Bivens, Bloomberg, Cookeville, DeKalb, Douglasville, Hooks, Kildare, Linden, Lodi, Marietta, Maud, McLeod, Naples, Nash, New Boston, Omaha, Queen City, Redwater, Sims, and of course Texarkana on all those. These are the people that will be affected by this potentially every single day of the year. These are things that we all know what we mail. bills that keep the lights on, legal documents, taxes, tax returns, other communications, especially those that are time sensitive. Whereas now they come to Texarkana, get processed, and sit back down in first-class situations, typically the next day. Now they have to come through here, get collected, and go off to another community in another state, get processed, come back to our area, and then sit down. Efficiency is not there, at least as far as we can see it. My hope is that the post office will be able to prove that they can be efficient. Texarkana, those 61 communities are going to be affected by this consolidation effort. However, no plan has been unveiled to us thus far which proves increased efficiency for such delivery. In other words, it is difficult, perhaps even impossible, to assume that the same next-day delivery of our precious documents, which we expect for personal or business needs. If efficiency is a major component, you might be interested to know something else. Our local post office has historically been graded among the top 10% in the district. I'm not an insider, the mayor has mentioned that as well, but in the business world at least, those grades typically reflect a polished, organized, and efficient organization that's already in place. Been some rumblings, hearsay, that even other offices that have been considered for consolidation have been underperforming. Doesn't make sense. But even if they're as good as we are, it still doesn't make sense to go from one good to another when we already have the efforts in place. Speaking of what happens in Texarkana, let's talk about the economics that the mayor mentioned. Somewhere between 31 and 50 jobs will be lost in our community. That translates to close to $3 million, certainly between $2 and $3 million in wages out of our community. Of course, if these jobs relocate to other communities, it is possible to project even more job losses in the form of spouses or other wage earners within each household. Taking it even further, the kids of these families, taken out of our schools, our friends at church, those that we see on the soccer field or anywhere else, could potentially be gone out of our community. When the case as it is right now, everybody's very happy, and that is seen in terms of how long many of our workers here have been in their jobs at the post office. The U.S. Postal Service indicates that no jobs will be lost, only shifted. These jobs will be accessed to Shreveport in this proposal. However, if there's not an available position, they could be shifted to other communities, as the mayor mentioned, and in other states. Efficiency usually comes from cutting expenses related to jobs, to people, to personnel. That's not been the case as far as they've stated, except here in Texarkana. A job loss for the people could still, it not be it may not be a reality for the people, but for Texarkana it would be. This is a shell game, folks, and it's unacceptable. Moving from one location to another does not bring about savings. Instead, it disrupts our way of life in the community we have all worked so hard to grow. It is entirely possible that some of these jobs belong to long-term employees who perhaps have climbed the ladder in terms of wages and are perhaps contributing to a top-heavy expense for the Postal Service. We've certainly seen or heard of in other industries and other circumstances where businesses found alternative ways to remove these similar long-term, perhaps even older workers out of the mix while rehiring at a lower level with less experienced workforce. Either way, they would be out of our community. There are no specific indicators which suggest this is the case here at the Postal Service. However, we all need to keep these loyal workers in our prayers. Another point of concern is that we have benefited immensely from having our unique postmark on our next day mail. That postmark shows Texarkana, Arkansas, Texarkana, Texas. In our line of work, this is a small yet powerful asset. If you can imagine, and many of you in your own businesses have to do this, we certainly do when we're recruiting businesses. We get all the virtues of our business, in your case, in other cases maybe of that business specifically, and all the virtues of our community. And we put together a nice packet, and we want to recruit people into our community to grow our economy. And it has a Shreveport, Louisiana postmark on it, or any other one, out of state, out of